Hello YouTube, this is Audrey's FJ-09 and this video is about how to change out the clutch cable. This is something that might be done as normal service on a bike that has, I don't know, we'll say 25, 30, 50,000 miles, somewhere in there, depending on how well you keep your clutch cable lubricated. With good frequent lubrication, the clutch cable might last 50 or 100,000 miles. A little less lubrication, you might be looking typically at changing it out around, I'll say 30. In this case, this bike has 7,700 miles on it, and it is showing signs to me that the clutch cable is about to break. And after seeing these signs and trying to adjust the slack, which I'll show you in a moment, I discovered that a breaking clutch cable on the 2015 and I believe 16 FJ-09s and I'm assuming FZ-09s as well is prone to breaking right here. It's about 2 to 3 inches away from the clutch handle itself. The cable will snap right here because it binds right there. Once I get the old one off of here, I'm going to take apart this cable and inspect it for damage, and I'm expecting to find that the cable is extremely worn, and that if I left it on here for very long, much longer, that it could break while riding. So I don't know if you can hear that sound on the video. That's what it sounds like when the cable's operated. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. It sounds like there's wires broken to me. And that ends, when I was backing this out of the garage the other day, I had the clutch squeezed all the way in, and the bike still wanted to inch forward, which to me says the clutch was out of the adjustment. So I came over here to where the clutch connects to the transmission, and I adjusted. I'm sorry, I need more light in here. But basically I adjusted the clutch as far out as possible to try to take up the slack that had developed in the clutch cable. And yes, I was able to adjust it out, but it's pretty close right here, you see, to the maximum travel, and it still could be adjusted better in my opinion. So anyway, that led me down the path of the fact that this clutch cable is showing signs that it's about to break. And so Yamaha figured out that they had a bad design with this clutch cable, and they revised the part number for the 2017 model year, I believe, is when they made the change. And so if you go to the dealership or online, you can order the FJ-09 part clutch cable with the updated part number. That is, I'll show you the part number. Right there. The -02 is the important part. If you get a cable that says -01, stay away from that. That is the old revision cable. But you'll see here the difference in that this metal bracket goes all the way around. It's in the packaging still, so I'll take it out. We'll show you how it goes. But anyway, the bike already has the tank and the air box off, as you can see. You could probably change this clutch cable without removing the tank and air box, but for the purposes of this do-it-yourself, to show you exactly how the cable is supposed to be routed, I went ahead and took mine off. That and the fact that I've taken the tank off of here enough times that I can have the tank on and off. Well, start to having the tank off for me is about 15, maybe 20 minutes. And I just figure it's easier to take the tank off and get it done right without having the cable bind up than try and fight with the tank there. And the way you would do that, if you were going to do this without removing the tank, is tie the end of the new cable to the old cable and pull it through. But we're not going to be doing that in this case. So I'll show you how to change out the cable so that you can ride safely for many miles. The path the clutch cable takes comes down here, away from the clutch handle, down past the ignition switch, down on the inside of the fork, and then comes under the frame right here, above the radiator, below the frame, and runs down here to the side of the throttle body. I'll try and get a better picture of this for you, but you can see me wiggling it maybe right there. And then goes down under the starter motor and over to the clutch actuator arm. These bolts are 12 millimeter, and if you loosen those up, this will slide out, and then you can pop this out of the, let's get over here so I can see. The actuator arm is right here. You just push it in with your fingers. And I don't know if I can do this one-handed. This piece right here has to bend open to let the cable out on the clutch lever arm. You can see the path the clutch cable takes above the starter and up around the side of the throttle bodies. I pulled on the cable from under the tank. I pulled it up, out past the side of the throttle bodies. I took off both of the nuts to make it a little skinnier and to help it get through that tight area there. And now it's just got to go right through there. We'll see how this comes out easiest. If I pull down, get that straight as much as possible. And with that, the cable is out. Okay, so let's compare the two. So here we have the old, and right here is the problem area. Here's the new. You can see it's a much smoother bend. And this right here creates problems for you. So safety wise, you need to replace it with the new part number. Once you get the new cable installed and tighten up the slack to where you want it, you can snug this 12 millimeter nut up with your combination wrench. So now, whereas the old cable, in order to disengage the clutch, the end nut had to be out here at the very end, at the far limit of the course adjustment. Now the new cable is right there in the middle, adjusted. And let's go show you what's going on up here at the top. We applied some fresh Mobile 1 grease to the end of the clutch cable here. So down by the clutch lever is your coarse adjustment, and then this little dial is for fine tuning exactly where you want the clutch to engage. You don't want the clutch to be too tight, so that you want it to move here a little bit freely. So this is the free travel right now of the clutch lever. And in my opinion, this is good. This is what you want. This makes sure that when the clutch is released, there is no tension pulling on the clutch. And then, of course, you have a nice, slow, firm pull in. So let's listen and compare to the old clutch. Okay, so this is pretty much where I want it. That seems good. My nuts down there are tightened up. I'd say this new clutch is ready to go. I think the new design actually makes it a little bit easier to get to the key. The old design kind of stuck out here more. And got it routed under the fork, down over the frame, or under the frame but above the radiator, down here to the side of the throttle body, and then that's it right there, going above the starter and over to the other side to the clutch arm. So, pretty simple task. The hardest part about it is probably removing the tank, if that's the route you're going to go. And actually, now that I've done it, I'm glad I did it this way. I would recommend doing it that way. If you try and do it without removing the tank, it's probably possible, but I'm going to guess more of a pain in the butt, and I don't want to accidentally rip a hose or an electrical connector under here trying to push and pull on the cable. Not saying it's impossible, just saying it's not the way I went. Best of luck when you do this yourself. This is the old clutch cable, and what I found that was going on with it. I've got this end pulled all the way in so that I can see as much as possible of what's going on this end. So normally this would not be exposed. This part, when I pulled this out, this stuff bunched up, which obviously shouldn't happen. Okay, so this is the best I can do at the moment. But these wires are broken. Okay, I'm adjusting it. So this cable, although maybe it wouldn't have snapped tomorrow, it was definitely slowly being cut by the internals of that design. And I really think Yamaha ought to recall this, but currently they have not. I am not even close to the first person to have this happen on the 2015 cable design. Obviously, Yamaha knows it's a problem because they updated the part number and fixed it for the 2017s. But that is the safety issue at hand.